Hello, and welcome to our podcast episode number 85. Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's buddy cop adventure continues. Today, we are going to discuss a film called Bad Boys, Ride or Die. Bad Boys, Ride or Die is a 2024 American action comedy film starring Will Smith and Martin Lawrence in the fourth installment of the Bad Boys series of buddy cop films, the sequel to Bad Boys for Life. It is directed by Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah. So, Tim, did you enjoy Bad Boys, Ride or Die?
Well, Tom, I have to be honest with you. I didn't particularly enjoy it. I found it to be overly formulaic and lacking in any real depth or substance. It felt more like a poor imitation of the first film than an actual continuation of the series.
Oh, come on, Timothy. You can't just dismiss it as that. Yes, it might not have won any Academy Awards, but it was meant to be a fun, action-packed movie night. And in that regard, I think it delivered. I mean, sure, the plot wasn't exactly new or groundbreaking, but who watches a Bad Boys movie for deep character development? It's about explosions, car chases, and of course, those iconic slow-mo shots of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence strutting around in tight t-shirts. Now, I understand that you aren't the biggest fan of action films in general, but even you have to admit that the chemistry between Smith and Lawrence is undeniable. They just click together on screen. You can tell they've spent years refining their characters, Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett, and it shows. So, Timothy, what did you think? Did you at least find anything redeemable about Bad Boys, Ride or Die?
I have to admit that there were some moments in the film where the action sequences did manage to engage me. The helicopter chase through Miami was definitely thrilling and well choreographed. And I can see how fans of the series might appreciate seeing their favorite characters back together again. However, as someone who values substance over style, I found myself growing tired of the nonstop explosions and gunfire after a while. It felt like there wasn't much room for character development or any meaningful exploration of themes beyond good guys versus bad guys. Moreover, while I agree that Smith and Lawrence share great chemistry on screen, I feel like their performances often veered into self-parody in this installment. The scene where they're dressed up as old men trying to infiltrate a retirement home was particularly cringy for me. It just seemed like they were trying too hard to be funny rather than letting the natural comedic timing between their characters shine through organically.
I can understand your concerns, Timothy. However, I think part of the appeal of films like Bad Boys is that they're meant to be over-the-top and unapologetically entertaining. They aren't trying to win any awards for best screenplay or most nuanced character arcs. They're about delivering what their audience expects. Explosions, one-liners, and the iconic bromance between Smith and Lawrence's characters. That being said, I do agree that there were some moments where the humor fell flat or felt forced. But overall, I still found myself enjoying the ride, pun intended, and appreciating how well the film managed to capture the spirit of the original Bad Boys movies while also updating it for a new generation. So, Timothy, do you have any interesting trivia about Bad Boys, Ride or Die that you'd like to share with our viewers? Perhaps something about one of the stunts or behind-the-scenes moments?
Well, Thomas, I did read up a bit on the film before we started our discussion today, and I found one interesting tidbit about the cast's preparation for their roles. Both Smith and Lawrence underwent rigorous training regimes to get in shape for the movie. Will Smith reportedly trained with former Navy SEAL and tactical instructor Steve Six Schoenfeld, while Martin Lawrence sought out the guidance of renowned martial arts master C. Michael Maloney. The duo spent months pushing themselves physically to bring a heightened level of realism to their characters' action sequences. Additionally, some of the stunts featured in the film were incredibly dangerous. Smith and Lawrence had to perform a car-to-plane leapfrog stunt over Miami's busy Bayfront highway. The stunt required precise timing and execution as both vehicles were traveling at high speeds toward each other. Fortunately, professional stuntmen were used in place of the stars themselves to ensure safety. Despite these risky stunts, luckily there were no major injuries reported during filming. And finally, I thought it was interesting to learn about the cameo appearances made in the movie. Besides the usual suspects like Ludacris and Tyrese Gibson reprising their roles from previous installments, Bad Boys. Ride or Die also features appearances by popular artists and celebrities such as DJ Khaled, who plays himself in a club scene, and Latin superstar Jennifer Lopez, who makes an appearance as herself in the film's climactic concert scene. So, Thomas, do you have any other interesting tidbits or behind-the-scenes stories to share with our viewers about Bad Boys? Well, Tom, I must admit I found the storyline of Bad Boys, Ride or Die, to be quite predictable and formulaic, as you mentioned earlier. It felt like a rehashed version of the previous installments with some familiar tropes thrown in for good measure. The plot revolves around Detective Mike Lowrey, played by Will Smith, who is now married to his physical therapist, Christine, played by Vanessa Hudgens. Together, they delve into an internal investigation within the Miami Police Department following accusations that their late Captain Conrad Howard, played by Joe Pantoliano, was tied to drug cartels. Despite Captain Howard's posthumous tarnishing, Mike is determined to prove his innocence with the help of his partner, Marcus Burnett, played by Martin Lawrence. Their hunt for the truth leads them to Mike's son, Armando Aretas, played by, who is currently incarcerated for the murder of Captain Howard. As they unravel the layers of deception and corruption within the police force, the duo finds themselves entangled in a web of organized crime that threatens not only their own lives, but also those of their loved ones. The film's central theme revolves around loyalty, friendship, choices while navigating the dangerous world of undercover policing. While the action sequences were well executed and did manage to raise my adrenaline levels at times, I found the dialogue between characters to be often cliched and predictable. Director Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah struggled to bring freshness or innovation to the tired buddy cop trope. However, I will give credit where it's due. The chemistry between Smith and Lawrence is still palpable on screen despite their age difference, which does help carry the film through its more predictable moments.
Well said, Timothy. Although I did enjoy the action sequences and the banter between Smith and Lawrence's characters, I agree that the storyline was somewhat predictable. However, I think part of the appeal of a good action movie is just that, to leave your brain behind and enjoy the ride, pun intended. And in this regard, Bad Boys, Ride or Die delivers on that front. As for the direction, I thought Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah did a decent job of balancing the action with the necessary character development to keep the audience engaged throughout the film. While it's true that some of the dialogue was cliched, the chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's characters more than makes up for any shortcomings in the script department. The scenes where they bounce off each other's jokes and wisecracks are genuinely funny and provide much-needed comic relief amidst the chaos unfolding on screen. So, Timothy, given your mixed feelings about Bad Boys, Ride or Die, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on the performances of the supporting cast members, particularly Vanessa Hudgens, who plays Will Smith's wife, and Joe Pantoliano, who reprises his role as Captain Howard. Did they bring anything new to their respective roles, in your opinion?
Well, Tom, I thought Vanessa Hudgens did a decent job portraying Will Smith's wife, Christine. She brought a much-needed grounded presence to the otherwise chaotic world of Mike Lowrey and Marcus Burnett. Their relationship added depth to both characters as they navigated their personal lives while dealing with the dangerous case at hand. However, I felt that her role was somewhat underutilized in the grand scheme of things. She often felt like an afterthought in the midst of all the action and drama surrounding the two protagonists. As for Joe Pantoliano's reprisal as Captain Conrad Howard, I must admit he delivered a solid performance as always. He brought a sense of authority and experience to the character, which was crucial given the complexities of the storyline. His posthumous role in the plot revealed some surprising twists and turns that kept me hooked throughout the film. While his screen time was limited, Pantoliano managed to leave a lasting impression on the story and its characters, turning now to Will Smith's portrayal of Mike Lowrey. I thought he captured the essence of the character perfectly. The charismatic and charming playboy cop transitioning into a more mature and responsible figure was subtly portrayed by Smith throughout the film. His chemistry with Martin Lawrence's Marcus Burnett remains palpable despite the passing years, which is a testament to their long-standing on-screen partnership. Smith's action sequences were well executed, showcasing his age-defying agility and athleticism that fans have come to expect from him. However, I did find some moments of his character development to be a bit cliché. The reluctant father figure who eventually learns the importance of family. Values is a trope we've seen too many times before in this genre. Nevertheless, Smith's charisma and charm carried the role well, making Mike Lowrey a likable and relatable protagonist despite his flaws. As for Martin Lawrence's portrayal of Marcus Burnett, he brought a level of gravitas to the otherwise chaotic world of Mike Lowrey. His wisecracking humor and stoic demeanor provided much-needed comic relief and grounding to the story. Their bickering banter felt natural and genuine, which made their moments of camaraderie all the more impactful. Lawrence's physical transformation for the role was also commendable. He spent months rigorously training for the film, which paid off on screen. His action sequences were thrilling and well choreographed, adding another layer to his already impressive portfolio as an actor. While some might argue that Marcus Burnett's character development felt somewhat stagnant compared to his counterpart, Mike Lowrey, I believe that Lawrence's nuanced performance saved the day by bringing depth and complexity to a role that could have easily slipped into stereotype. In conclusion, while Bad Boys, Ride or Die might not be a groundbreaking masterpiece of cinema, it does deliver on what audiences expect from the franchise. Action, humor, and a classic buddy cop dynamic between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's characters. The supporting cast, led by Vanessa Hudgens and Joe Pantoliano, provided necessary depth and complexity to the story, while some cliched plot points and predictable twists could be seen miles away. The chemistry between the lead actors and their charismatic performances managed to salvage the film from becoming a complete bore fest. If you're looking for a brainless, adrenaline-pumping action flick to enjoy with your buddies Bad Boys, Ride or Die might be worth a watch, but don't expect any Oscar-winning performances or mind-blowing plot twists.
Thank you for your thoughtful analysis, Timothy. Now, moving on to the cultural impact of Bad Boys, I'd like to start off by discussing how the film portrays Miami as a vibrant city with a diverse population. The use of colorful Latin American influences and music throughout, the film helps to showcase Miami's rich cultural heritage. Additionally, the inclusion of prominent Latin artists like Jennifer Lopez in the film's climactic concert scene highlights the growing influence of Latin culture in mainstream media. Moreover, the portrayal of strong female characters such as Will Smith's wife Christine, played by Vanessa Hudgens, and his partner Marcus Burnett's daughter, adds depth to the traditional action-packed buddy cop formula. These nuanced representations of race and gender in popular culture have the potential to shape perceptions and normalize diversity in contemporary society. On a more negative note, some critics argue that the film perpetuates harmful stereotypes about Latin American drug cartels and their involvement in organized crime. The portrayal of Latin Americans as dangerous criminals with questionable morals could lead to unintended consequences, such as fueling xenophobic attitudes and discrimination against real-life Latinos living in the United States. Furthermore, the glorification of excessive violence and reckless behavior by law enforcement officers might glamorize these actions among impressionable viewers. To sum up, Bad Boys: Ride or Die is an action-packed thriller that delivers on its core promise to provide audiences with non-stop adrenaline-pumping entertainment. While it does fall short in terms of originality and character development, the film's vibrant portrayal of Miami's diverse cultural landscape and nuanced representation of race and gender offer a glimpse into the changing face of action cinema. Its portrayal of Latin American drug cartels and the glorification of violence should be approached with caution, particularly in light of real-world issues related to racial profiling and police brutality. So, Timothy, do you think that the positive aspects of cultural representation and diversity outweigh the negative aspects of stereotyping and glorifying violence in Bad Boys?
Well, Tom, I think it's important to consider both the positive and negative aspects of films like Bad Boys: Ride or Die. On one hand, they provide much-needed representation for underrepresented groups in mainstream media. The diverse cast and colorful depiction of Miami's multicultural landscape are commendable steps towards fostering understanding and acceptance. Additionally, the strong female characters played by Vanessa Hudgens and Will Smith's daughter add depth to traditional action flick tropes. However, the glorification of excessive violence and reckless behavior by law enforcement officers is concerning. The portrayal of Latin American drug cartels as dangerous criminal organizations with questionable morals perpetuates harmful stereotypes that can lead to real-world consequences, such as xenophobia and discrimination against Latinos living in the United States. In conclusion, while Bad Boys: Ride or Die delivers on action humor and classic buddy cop dynamics between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence's characters, it falls short in terms of originality and character development. The film's cultural impact should be approached with caution, particularly when discussing its portrayal of Latin American drug cartels and the glorification of violence. It's important for audiences to consume media responsibly and reflect on how these depictions affect real-world perceptions and attitudes. So, Tom, do you have any final thoughts or comments on Bad Boys: Ride or Die? And before we wrap up, a quick reminder to our viewers, don't forget to comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell button for more in-depth discussions about your favorite movies and TV shows.